This Let's Play was supported by these awesome hobby companies. Hello everybody and welcome to this Let's Play of River Horse Games' The Dark Crystal RPG. Sit back and relax as Jack takes us through the wonderful world of Thra.
Hello, I'm Jack. For those of you I don't think I've met Free before.
No.
Apart from obviously watching your show. Jerry, I think we've met in person once or twice.
40k weekend, I believe.
That'll be the one. And obviously you guys know Chris, who is my brother.
Hello.
And, he does the drawing bits, and I generally do the dice and the rulesy bits. Fantastic to meet you guys. This is the Dark Crystal adventure game, or to be more precise, this is the Dark Crystal adventure game. This is a way of going through an adventure in Thra, where players create Gelfling characters and explore Thra, trying to collect 7 great seeds from the 7 great trees, which is an adventure that will take them all across Thra to the depths of the deepest caves, to the heights of the tallest mountains. In this adventure, we will be cutting it down a little bit, doing just a little sort of teaser of one of the scenes. In fact, the scene I've chosen today is Craighell's Keep, which was written by Chris as one of our guest writers. We've got a few guest writers in to write various scenes, majority of them written by the fantastic Janet Forbes, who did an absolutely fantastic job on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through a few of the rules, how tests work. As I said before, I'm going to skip over the how role-playing games in general work, but there is a really good little tips and tricks section in here that sort of takes you through sort of step by step, as if you've never picked up a role-playing game before, because this is a really nice sort of introductory product for anyone who's not played anything before. So what you will need is your player sheets, which we have prepared earlier. Fantastic. And a set of polyhedral dice. For the most part, you're just going to need d6s and maybe a d8, and if things go wrong, some d4s. And, mostly the bigger, scarier dice are for me and for monsters. You'll be working in the lower end of the polyhedral dice set. The way that a test is resolved in the Dark Crystal adventure game is I will pick a number for how difficult something is. So let's say you're trying to climb a cliff, difficulty 4, let's say. We will decide what type of test it is, so that one would be fairly obvious, a climbing test. And I'd say, can you roll your climbing, please? You'd roll a d6, and if you have a sort of skill point, one of the blue dots there on the sheet there, in the main sort of skill there that climbing is under, then you get +1. If you have 2 dots, as Jerry does here, then you will get 2.
Nice.
So you'd roll a d6, you'd add 2. If you got a 4, you succeeded. If you got lower, you failed, and we work out what happens from there. If you roll a 1, usually I'll decide something nasty happens. And but if you do have enough bonuses to sort of automatically pass the test, unless it's a conflict sort of between 2 people, then we just say you're skilled enough to climb and pass the test. So in this example, if instead our filing here was trying to run away from some baddies, then that might be athletics. And I would say roll d6 +1, because you have the 1 dot in sort of the over skill, but no skills in athletics itself. So the maximum you can ever have to a die is +3 if you have the main skill and then sort of trained and mastery in that skill. So that doesn't mean you can't do skills that you're not trained in. You just won't be adding any numbers to it. And that can get a little scary. Normally you'll be rolling a d6. If you ever are injured for any reason, that will drop down to a d4, which, as you can imagine, lowers your chances quite a lot. If you're injured again, that's when scary stuff starts to happen, and I turn to a nasty page in this rulebook, which I will give the viewers a little sneak peek at just now, and essentially roll a d12 on the page, and that will be your injuries.
Okay.
So something I do warn people about, sort of as we start this game, is it's surprisingly deadly. So that's the page there, and we have some nicer things. If you roll a 12 on that d12, then you're just going to be getting an impressive scar, maybe a story to tell about it. But if you roll a 1, that's going to be dangerous. That's going to be Thra has asked for your return, and you will perhaps be rolling a new character. So,
I'm not long for this world, am I?
combat, very dangerous. So be prepared. Normally, you would have sort of experience points that you can spend to gain new skills, or you could spend to re-roll really important rolls like this. So there is a bit of a buffer in there, a bit of a way of cheating death, but we'll be skipping that for this session since it's just a one-shot.
Nice. Yeah.
The other thing to go through in skills, sort of before we dive straight in, is equipment. So most of you will have some equipment.
Yes.
And it works very simply in that if you have equipment that we decide would be helpful in a check, whatever it is. So, for example, we have a machete here, which I think would be helpful in trying to chop off some branches of a tree. Seems fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
You would roll 2 dice and take the higher. So if you're rolling d4, you'd roll 2d4 and take the higher. If you're rolling d6s, you roll 2d6s and take the higher.
Yeah.
Similarly, if there's some sort of world effect that's maybe that cliff is super wet, or it's been sort of made slippery for some reason, you'd roll 2 dice and take the lower. That's called being hindered. The former is called being improved. If you roll a 1 on one of those 2 dice, you will lose 1 durability of that thing. So the machete, for example, you'd lose a durability.
Mm-hmm.
If you're trying to do something that sort of requires equipment but you don't have it, similarly, you would also be hindered. So the main use of that is that we consider if you are fighting something that requires equipment. You can do it without equipment, but you'll be hindered. So fighting unarmed, not a very great thing to do. There are lots of tests where it's not considered you need equipment. So, for example, convincing your way past a guard, we say that doesn't need equipment, or the equipment that you're using is your mouth, so you roll normally. But if you did have special equipment, maybe fine clothes or something like that, then you would be rolling the 2 dice and taking the higher. And to be honest, that's about 90% of the rules we'll be using.
Fantastic.
It's a super simple system that a lot of the sort of complexity is hidden within the scenes themselves. And I think without further ado, shall we introduce our characters, our brave adventurers, who will be exploring Craighell Keep. So actually, I'll give you a little bit of a taste of the world before we dive in there.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So our world is set just after the end of the Netflix series. So Thra has just been sort of plunged into a all-out war with the Skeksis. There is the Gelfling resistance, and the Skeksis have just created this strange new soldier that there's rumors about, but very few sort of Gelfling actually have seen one in person, and those that have generally haven't survived to tell the tale. And this is the ferocious Garfim, mix of Arathim and Grunak. So this war is at the very start going very well for the Gelfling, but with the advent of this new soldier has been a a bit trickier. So the rebellion is mostly warred in the plains of the castle in the center of this map here, with sort of it spiraling out a little into other regions. You have been tasked by the Mordra of the Dusan, the tribe of the Crystal Desert, to investigate an ancient castle ruin called Craighel's Keep. This is the home of an old king, Gelfling king, called indeed Craighell. We'll see how much you guys know about Craighell with some rolls in a bit, but you know that he was an old and powerful king, and you've been asked to check out this keep in case it can be used as a sort of defensible position, somewhere to maybe hide the Gelfling who are less sort of able to fight the Skeksis if there's ever a reason to sort of take refuge. And sort of, there's a lot of rumors about this place. That maybe it's haunted, maybe it's full of monsters. No one really goes here. It's a bit remote, so basically the Mordra thought it'd be a good idea to send some capable Gelfling forward, give it a check out, and work out sort of what's going on, if it's useful, and if it's not, to come back and tell everyone, no, that place is horrible. So what adventurers do we have on our mighty quest?
Well, I am Diane, a fireling. If people thought the Groton had slipped into myth and tales of the past, then the firelings are truly legendary. Having been sent forth by my ember to aid the resistance, I'm a sprightly young Gelfling with a head full of flame hair. And when I say that, I don't mean I'm a ginger. I literally mean I've got a head full of flaming hair and a sort of sooty appearance around the brow. I know a little in lore and healing, and hopefully I'll be able to aid our quest into the keep.
I am going out as Lyra, a member of the Seafa clan, home from the coast, seen plenty on the sea, and I have been drafted in to help out with my calm talking, my empathy, and my awareness into what lurks with wisdom lurked underneath.
I am playing Fallow, who is a Stonewood Gelfling. I am I'd like to say I'm the 2 days from retirement style Gelfling. I've seen a lot and I've done a lot, and I'm here to make sure that these two don't get themselves killed. So yes, I'm one of the fierce warrior stock.
Perhaps old enough to have remembered the Arafin Wars.
Yes. Yeah.
So, after several days of travel from the Wellspring Oasis, they cross harsh desert, facing trials unknown. Really a fantastic prequel, if ever it comes up. But you have finally made your way to Craighel's Keep, and from you've been able to sort of see it for a while now. It's an imposing sort of light on the landscape with its dark, sort of almost obsidian-like walls, sort of striking out of the stone of the mountain that sort of surrounds it. Jutting out of the top of the keep is a tower, and atop the tower you can see a black beacon that has not been lit, but you can sort of see from its vantage point that it can be seen sort of for miles around. On a clear day, you think could even be seen down to the Sprighton Plains and up from across the Crystal Desert.
It looks just like home, but so cold, lifeless.
Exactly. I think Fallow and Lyra, you're probably struggling a bit. So Stonewood, obviously, you're sort of more used to the forests, lush green environments, and Lyra, the sea, the call of the sea and the coast. And this is a harsh desert environment that would be cruel to most, except, of course, a fireling it's probably a bit chilly here, but it's nicer than most of the other places on the surface that you've experienced. So, if any of you would like to sort of try and recollect what you might know about this place on your journey towards,
yeah, sure,
and have our first test of the session, and you can give me an Ancients 4 roll.
Ooh. I got a 4. There we go. So.
I got a 5.
A 3.
So remember, if you have a skill point in Law, then you're +1, and you have a skill point in Ancients, you'll be +2. Fallow, you have heard of Craighell's Keep, this keep itself. You know that the reason that the Gelfling resistance is interested in it is quite a sort of strategic location. It's placed at the sort of southerly pass between the Crystal Desert and the Shifting Pass, and from its walls you are able to sort of see across the pass to the other edge of the Claw Mountains. So anyone sort of holding this keep would be able to sort of impose control over anyone sort of coming in or out of the Crystal Desert. The only other ways sort of into the Crystal Desert is over the Claw Mountains, which is a treacherous journey in and of itself. So that's sort of the reason it was almost certainly created in the first place. Deanne, you've heard not of the physical location, but you have heard of Craighell in a song of myth. In filing culture, it is a name sort of akin to sort of Medusa or sort of an ancient monster that an ancient filing hero of Jara Jen, a sort of ancient warrior of ancient culture, sort of fought against Craighell and defeated him by blowing a grand horn that called forth thunder and fire from the skies, destroying him utterly. You know, of course, that a lot of this is myth and has been built up over the years, and you're probably quite surprised that it seems to be a Gelfling. Everyone seems to be talking about Craighell as if it was a Gelfling, not a fireling, and that it's on the surface. You assumed that sort of this Craighell was some sort of Mithra, sort of deep in the bowels of Thra, but here it is with the sky above and all that entails. So approaching the keep, you will see that it's sort of built in 3 stages into the rocks. There's a great sort of obsidian wall that is your first sort of barrier. Behind that, and even taller, is another bastion that sort of looks down onto the main wall, and then finally beyond that is the citadel itself, the keep that sort of builds up into the sky with the beacon at the very top of the entire structure. So you stand, your toes sort of heated by the warm sand, and you can see before you the keep itself. What do you guys do?
As I regale my companions with the tale of Jarajen and how magnificent he was, a fireling, taking down this terrible monster, I'll take my spyglass out and start to scan from the keep down to see if I can find an easy way for us to get up there.
Okay, definitely. That does actually remind me. Not for Jerry, but Ben and Free. Mm-hmm. If your Gelfling is female, then you will have access to wings and be able to fly. You can't fly whilst sort of holding any heavy equipment, but you can sort of fly up and around. It's something that gives every seed a bit more freedom than a lot of players are used to.
Alas, I am without wings, but
but flicking out your spyglass, can you make me an awareness 5 check, and you will have the improved
7.
7. Absolutely fantastic. So looking across the sort of the first wall, you can see that the wall itself is in surprisingly good condition for how old you assume it is. The stones are sort of flat and sort of worked very nicely into each other. You think that itself, climbing that would be quite a challenge without sort of someone letting a rope down or something along those lines. The cliffs around the wall, however, you can see that there's a bit more of a path there that someone careful would be able to make their way up without too much trouble. There sort of seems to be enough sort of places that you'd be able to stop and take a rest without having to sort of do the whole climb in one long stint. So you can see that on the left. Sort of straight ahead, you can see the sort of stairs leading up to a great gate in the wall itself. The gate, find out. So the gate itself seems closed, or it is closed, doesn't seem it, and made of sort of a dark wood.
Okay, then Fallow will turn to his friend Deanne and say, "I suppose we should go that way then. Follow our way around the cliffs and up that. I don't feel like falling off a wall and crashing myself."
It makes sense. We could, however, check to see whether or not the gate opens first.
I would like to get a gauge of the gate. I want to see what I feel. I want to see if what we come towards is threatening. I fear this place.
So, sort of having a bit of a closer look at the gate, you sense, you feel that it definitely gives you, and I think the scientific term is the heebie-jeebies.
Gives me the Wiggins.
Definitely. And although sort of closed, the gate does look slightly ajar. And above it, you can see sort of inscribed in ancient dream etchings something ancient and old and hard to read without either trying to discern what it means or by touching it and dream fasting with the text. So something that all Gelfling can do with each other is dream fast by sharing memories through touch, or share memories through writing and touch. So you can touch writing that another Gelfling has written and gain sort of the knowledge that was imparted there.
Would I be able to test to decipher?
Yeah, that would be an Ancients check.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to be quite difficult, difficulty 5.
Six.
Fantastic. So as you sort of inspect closer, it feels wrong. You feel like there's something about it that makes you know that you made the right decision not touching this. There's almost this hatred and evil coming out of it, and the words themselves also foreboding, as it is a simple one line: kneel or know oblivion.
Has Lyra gone sort of forward to look at this, or could she have seen it from afar?
Yeah, I think you'll have sort of had to go up a few of these stone steps.
Okay.
Look
Fallow's keeping an eye on sort of the walls above them, just in case, because this seems like a place for a trap or something. So he's just keeping an eye out.
Can you roll me an awareness, actually? And I'll wait for the difficulty on that one.
Mm-hmm. I got a 6.
Okay. So you're sort of keeping your eye scanning the top of the crenellations. All seems still. Quiet. Too quiet.
After feeling that extra sense of heebie-jeebies, Fellow turns to Lyra and Deanne and is like, whilst the door might still be open, I don't suspect we should go through there. This place could be heavily defended. It's a perfect place to set up camp, especially if you're nefarious.
Do you suggest we start climbing then?
Yes. I suppose I say we take the side route up along the side of the cliff.
Well, you've seen a lot more in the way of warfare than I ever have in my short life. I'll bow to your superior knowledge in this case. It does seem like an awful long way away, though.
I'm happy to climb, and I'm happy to assist with my wings.
Yes, Fala will look at Lyra's wings and be like, it's a lot easier for you. By all means, Diane, if we want to go through the front door, then I'm perfectly follow you through there, but, well, I don't want to die quite yet.
I take this as a warning we should not walk through the front gate, because I fear what's ahead.
The cliff way it is, then.
Lead on, fellow.
I'm terrible at climbing, but let's go.
In that case, I'll lead on, because I
Yes.
don't want to finish my adventure lying on the ground with you
I'll
on top
fall
of
off
me.
the back.
So,
I will attempt to use my grapple claw. Is that something that I would run a rope down, or is that literally just claws to aid me?
no, I reckon it's a claw and rope that you can sort of up. So I reckon with that, so that's definitely a suitable item. So you'll be improved. Difficulty 4, and I think if you succeed on this check, you'll have the rope down, and everyone else can sort of just climb up the rope.
5, picking that
5.
list. Yep.
Fantastic. So you make short work of the path that you scouted out earlier, and sort of set up the claw itself and the rope, and everyone can climb up. Are you leaving the rope there, or are you sort of?
No, well, once we get to the top of this, what is lying in front of us for the rest of the keep?
Well, as you get to the top of the outer curtain, you find yourself in a watchtower that is protected sort of on one side with the crenellations facing the outer desert, and on the other side there's nothing, not even a safety rail. In the main courtyard, sort of below, you see a chilling image, and that is many sort of forms of Gelfling that appear lying somewhat peacefully. Each of them wearing a dark black breastplate, sort of covering their torso, and lying in sort of scattered around, almost as if someone's just dropped their toys on the floor within the courtyard. There's dozens of these bodies that clearly, even from this distance, old, desiccated, been here for decades, if not centuries.
They fell many Theans ago, and nobody survived to bury them. You're right, this is a place of ill boding. The question is, can we make our way through that courtyard, or do we want to try and go around it to the keep?
So, what would have happened if we'd gone through the door?
So from sort of where you are here, above the whole sort of mess, you could climb your way sort of round across the rocks. The climbing seems to get a bit more difficult. Perfect. I was just about to do that with the book. That's far more organised than I am. But, so you're currently sort of on the first watchtower, and you could sort of climb across the rock, trying to make your way to the inner curtain wall, the inner ward. As I said, though, that'll be a sort of bit more difficult from this angle, and there's a bit of a sort of overhang, meaning any drop is going to be quite a long way down into the courtyard. So,
we have access from this tower to the
yes. So there's
below.
a thin set of stairs that lead down into the courtyard, and you can see ahead of you a wide set of stairs leading to an old portcullis, rusted and lowered, but even from this distance you can see twisted open, as if by some great beast.
I will, at the very least, creep down the stairs of the tower so I'm level with the courtyard. Is there anything around crumbling masonry, old wooden pieces of a chair or a door that I can... Just something I want to throw into the courtyard to see if anything actually happens, if anything sets foot in there.
Okay. So you find, sort of having a bit of a look around, you find an old flagpole with a sort of tattered flag, the symbol upon it, a gelfling skull, black as ink. And sort of taking that, you can chuck that sort of into the courtyard. The sound that it makes feels louder than it should. It sort of clatters into the silence, which seems to amplify the noise. But after a few seconds, silence remains.
Whatever happened here, I think it's gone now.
You think? I still feel something looming. The silence is not comforting.
That's
And
what happens when you're in the desert, though.
As our designated door checker, Lyra, why don't you fly over to the portcullis?
I fear going on my own, but for the safety of us, I will check.
Don't worry, I'll cover you. And he's got his hunting bow off his back, and he's got an arrow notch just in case. So.
I'm going to fly up to the portcullis.
Okay, so sort of flying over the courtyard, over the bodies, you flutter sort of near the portcullis. It's the metal itself seems twisted open, and there is about enough space for a gelfling to make their way through, sort of without having to squeeze too much. The space beyond the inner ward, you can see is an open space, and then you've got the main keep just beyond it. Can you throw me an awareness check, actually? It is awareness.
5.
5. So you can see against the wall there is the shadow of a gelfling who appears to be trying to stay hidden. You don't think he's spotted you yet, and he sort of he's very careful, looking off to his left, looking into the keep, and then sort of reaching, shying away from the door.
If I shout back to my teammates, would I be giving away my location?
Definitely, it's further sort of to your teammates than it is to him at the moment. If you wanted to stay quiet, you'd have to sort of fly back or
cross over, I guess.
Is there anything on the floor next to me that I can throw to try and see how he reacts without giving away my location?
So there's about a half foot of sort of twisted off metal from the portcullis that you could definitely use.
Okay.
You said you were just going to wing it at him then, and I was like,
not at him.
Take this.
To see how jumpy he is, to see if he's scared, or to see if he's angry. I'm going to throw something in the other direction.
Okay. But, so you throw it in the other direction. Let's see. He damn near jumps out of his skin, and you thought he was against the wall before. He straight up pushes himself as hard against the wall, eyes bogging out of his head, looking left, looking right, trying to find the source of that noise. From the looks of him, He seems to be wearing fairly simple clothing. You'd peg him as a Stonewood gelfling, probably a little scrawnier than your average sort of Stonewood warrior, and that's probably about what you get from him.
I'm going to head back to my party and inform them that we are no longer alone.
Well, if he's scared, that means we've probably got the jump on him.
I do not sense that he is. I sense that he's threatened, but I don't think we are his biggest worry.
Are you particularly silver-tongued, Lyra?
Yeah.
Why don't we try and make sure that why don't we try and calm him down? Maybe he'll come out and help us and tell us what's going on in this place. Something's clearly scared him.
If you feel that's a good idea, yet we do not know what we are walking into and how long this person has been dwelling here.
Well, they might be able to fill us in on that information.
All gelflings are friends, after all. We must all band together if we are to defeat the Skeksis.
And if not, I'll shoot him.
Chaos.
There's two types of people in the world.
I want to go back to Mithras. It was simpler beneath the earth. One son, not three. Above ground gelflings they're just weird.
I'm going to keep my high ground, and I'm going to say, please do not feel threatened. We are here to help.
So, as you make your way over, you see that in the meantime he's sort of scrabbled himself up sort of onto a ledge on the wall. Seems to be trying to sort of keep off the ground out of sight. To the voice again, his head sort of snaps in your direction, sort of struggling against the sun to pinpoint your exact location. And he says, "Who's there, friend?"
I'm going to fly down to him, make myself visible. I am no foe of yours. I am here to help. Why do you dwell here on your own?
Can you roll me an empathy? Difficulty 5.
4.
He seems to sort of take a look at you, be a bit inquisitive, perhaps even a little suspicious, and he says, I'm just exploring, but you should really keep your voice down. There are monsters in the next room within the keep. I was trying to think of a way past them.
You say you're here exploring. What would bring you here on your own if you are so sure there are monsters close by?
He scratches the back of his neck, seeming somewhat, maybe a little embarrassed. Well, there's this girl, and I thought if I brought her something from the throne room, then that would show that I'm brave and strong. And well, I was hoping that it would be less trouble than it is turning out to be. A little hitch in the plan.
You say that this is a girl. Is this a girl from your clan? Because I travel someone similar in your kin.
So, he nods, sort of. She's called Miwan. She's very nice, if a little demanding, but very nice.
Is there a way for me to open an entranceway to get the rest of my party in?
So the portcullis the sort of twisted open section. They could definitely sort of make their way through there.
I guess now we can hear sort of them talking on the other side. I'll squeeze through the portcullis thing and get to come through to the other side.
Yeah, so it's not much of a barrier.
Happening.
It's just sort of if you're in a rush or trying to get more than one person through at once, it would be quite would slow you down.
Mm-hmm.
So as you sort of push through, you see the Gelfling who nervously adds, I'm Limit, by the way. And you can see sort of his whole frame seems to be nervous and somewhat embarrassed. Can you roll me an awareness check, Mr. Fallow?
Oh, a 1. No.
A 1. But, so
it's all going so beautifully. We can pinpoint where it went downhill now.
Yeah, you've you see that Limit has many of the sort of traditional tattoos of warriors and of the Stonewood clan. A few of them seem sort of non-standard, but other than that, you can't really discern anything beyond that.
All right. Well, as I want to know a little bit more about what's going on in here, it's like, I guess we've some sort of like overheard a few things from the courtyard on the other side. So, Fallow just says, "You said there were things inside there. What was it?"
He glances to your bow and seems to perk up slightly. He says, "Rakida, I don't know how many of them, but I saw at least 2, big ones too. So if anyone would like to make me a animals wild sense check, difficulty 3, not that hard.
Out of 5.
So indeed, you have heard of Rakida before. They are sort of wolf-like creatures. There we go. So wolf-like creatures, they often hunt in small packs and cause a nuisance. Rarely ultra-aggressive to a Gelfling, but they are quite territorial. And he says, at least 2. I didn't see any more. I got out of there before they decided to get too territorial.
How far inside the next entranceway can we see?
So looking in, you can see into a sort of grand entrance hall. If you sort of peek around the corner, the sort of ancient sort of red carpets that would have adorned this have been long since sort of dried out, ripped up, dust filling the room. To the far side of that hall, you can see a door leading sort of deeper into the keep, and to your right, you can see a door that sort of leads to the right. And can you give me an awareness check, please?
6.
6.
These are amazing dice rolls. This is
yeah.
well for them.
So at the far end of the hall, you can see that some of the sort of furniture that would have been in here, rather sort of lavish things that have been preserved by the dry desert winds, but have not been preserved by animal claws, which have clearly sort of torn up some of this old furniture and made something of a nest in the corner.
How always limit taking in my devilishly handsome, fiery gelflingness. As a quick aside.
Just, yeah.
So he seems to have taken it in possibly too much into stride. In fact, if you want to throw me an empathy check there.
Oh, 6 would have been great here. I have no empathy at all. Uno. I really
Uno.
no empathy.
Yeah, he's taken it into stride. You think perhaps he's metaphiling before, or perhaps he's so distracted by his mission that
Let's go with that.
distracting things are less important.
Fallow, come here.
Yes.
Bring your bow.
Yeah. Fallow will trot over. Yeah.
Coil away my grapple claw, tying it around my waist. You see at the far end of the hall, that pile of chairs and furniture.
Yes.
Do you think you could hit it?
I could.
Could you hit it? And I just tear a strip of Fallow's tunic off with this tied to your arrow?
I could. I could also fire one of these, and I pull out a little tiny crystal-headed arrow as well. I could use this and see through it if you need us to.
No, I think this should be enough. I tie the strip of cloth to the end of his arrow and then just hand it to him. And then once you draw back the string, I go, wait. And then set fire to it.
And I'll fire it in there. As he does so, Fallow also says, that was my favourite tunic, but never mind.
I was never going to rip my own.
Make a marksmanship test, yeah?
Yep, it should be. Although you'll have +2. I think just sort of getting it down the end.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Are you aiming for the sort of pile of furniture? Is that?
Yes, firing it there, yeah.
So yeah, I think you're able to get that down. Just mark off an arrow,
Yep, sure.
essentially.
And about that much of tunic.
And that much of tunic. So the arrow whistles, hits the furniture, and probably about sort of 20 seconds later, the fire sort of starts to catch. You get the sense that it's slowly spreading, and
we should move away from the door into some place of relative safety where things won't come barreling straight into us.
You're sort of moving away. So you move away from the door, so you can't quite see precisely what's going on. But after a few seconds, you hear an almighty growling roar as something seems rather annoyed. It's joined by another one, and the pair sort of become a discordant sort of howling cacophony. The sounds of ruckus from inside the room grow, and you can hear the starts of maybe even a fight. And eventually, from the doorway, you see a sort of a sharp-nosed, evil-looking, scaly Rakida, sort of prowling out of the room, sniffing the floor, and its angry eyes looking this way and that. You can see sort of a fresh claw mark on its side. Obviously, it has just lost some argument with perhaps its bondmate of who was going to go scare off whatever's causing problems. And, can I get a stealth check from people?
Oh yes.
You guys are far away from the door. I think you should be able to.
One of us, I'm not saying who, but one of us does have a head that's on fire.
That's true. That is true.
I got a 6, so
I got a 1.
6.
Well, there we go. I was going to give you a.
the dice were being on point for that. So yeah.
But, so we had a 6. What do we have from Lyra?
6.
6. 2 6s. Fantastic. So yeah, you guys managed to sort of keep out of danger. The Rakita itself turns to the source of the fire. It assumes fire's just annoyed me. There's fire here. Logic dictates that this is my problem. And we will be jumping into an action scene.
It would be hard to argue with that.
Action scenes are kind of a little bit like sort of D&D initiative.
Mm-hmm.
They're a point where basically the ruling is if the next 5 seconds, if you were to do nothing in the next 5 seconds, the scene would change dramatically, i.e. a Rakita would eat your throat. So basically, we sort of break our turns down into what are you doing in the next 5 seconds? We roll checks, that sort of thing. Then once you've all chosen what you're going to do, I choose what the NPCs are going to do. Then we go into a new round until basically you're in a stable position where nothing is going to change in the next 5 seconds. Cool. So it has spotted you. It's locked eyes on Deanne, and yeah, they're not happy eyes that it's locked on you. It does seem sort of on its own, but of course you did hear the noises from inside. So you can take your sort of turns in any order. There's no rolling initiative or anything like that. You just tell me what you want to do.
I am going to sprint away from my companions and limit towards the gap in the portcullis. Not attempting to get through it, but running towards it.
Okay. I reckon, yeah, you'll be able to sort of push your way across the inner courtyard, make your way to the portcullis. As you say, sort of getting to it, not quite getting through. Then we have Fallow and Lyra.
Am I able to carry another gelfling when flying?
I'd say to aid, you could like give someone an aid on a jump, but not bodily into the air, sort of thing.
Is there anywhere quite high to where the monsters can't get to which I can jump and put limit underneath me to where they can't get him either?
So on the sort of inner wall, if we want to grab the map up, then you can see that. So you're currently at the doorway of the keep proper.
Mm-hmm.
The inner wall would certainly be tall enough to be out of the way of the Rakita. You could definitely get up there, but it would require sort of a bit of a climb rather than a long jump. So I think you might be able to help Limit if he was wanting to do that.
So I'm going to fly to the highest point and help Limit get as far as he can just by giving him an extra bit boost.
Okay. So Limit grabs onto you and starts scrabbling. Then we have Fallow.
Yeah, so I've kind of cottoned onto what Dion was trying to do. So I assume he's trying to guide the creature away from us. So as it goes towards him, I'll try and shoot it in the back as it's running towards him, and try and get it before it pins him to the portcullis.
So here we have our first challenge. So challenge is when two sort of creatures roll dice against each other.
Yeah.
You will be rolling a marksmanship test as per normal. You have a bow, so you'll be rolling. Since it's a marksmanship weapon, you'll be improved. So you'll be rolling 2 dice, taking the highest.
Yeah.
And it's a
+2 as well, I think, isn't it? So
+2. This is a nasty thing. It is a creature, so generally it doesn't have sort of skills and bonuses, but it does have a D8 rather than the D6 that you guys have. And it's rolled terribly there.
2.
So I got a 5 on my highest there. In total, I got a 5. So
fantastic. And remember to mark off the durability there. So the arrow sort of strikes it in the flank. It gives out a yowl of pain, which you hear sort of repeated from inside the hall. You would swear it was an echo if you were in such a place. So you've hit it. So instead of a D8, it's now dropped down to a D6. Hit it again, drop down to a D4, And if you hit it again, then basically you get to decide how that combat ends and how that threat is neutralized. But yeah, it's hurting. It didn't like that. Its head sort of snaps around. It yowls in pain. I think the closest thing it sees is still this fire.
I'll make shouty noises to keep its attention on me. Look at me!
The fire's hurt it in some way. It's not happy about that. So it leaps forwards. Its tiny little wings on the back, sort of fluttering. They don't do anything. They're vestigial, but they do flutter, and it
nice.
makes it feel better. It's more of a confidence boost. Really. As it leaps forward, fangs bared, its fangs do things. They rip and they tear. And, towards Deanne. So this is another contest. It'll be rolling its die, and you may choose to roll your reflexes or block. If you use block, then you must basically choose what item you're blocking with. So if you had a shield or something, you'd obviously choose that.
I would love to roll my reflexes because I want to essentially try and get it to leap at me, and then I dive out of the way, and it goes headfirst into the gap in the portcullis.
Oh, I love it.
Nice.
Yes. Give me a...
It's a good plan, isn't it?
It's quite good, yeah.
Oh, that was the last we ever seen of Deanne. Eaten, you know.
Oh.
I got a 3. Did you get less than a 3?
It rolled a natural 1.
Hey.
So, I reckon that is a perfect excuse for the rule of cool. And it launches forwards, snaps straight past you, but you're able to dive out the way and get itself sort of bodily head right between one of the twisted squares of the portcullis. Meanwhile, so you hear that howl from inside, and Limit sort of looks around, seeing his chance, and sort of climbing up. He looks round and grabs onto Lyra, and he says, "Truly sorry about this." And you can see sort of flicked out from his clothing a wicked-looking curved blade knife, at which he darts forwards, trying to sort of break Lyra away from him.
Can I block that?
It's it'll probably be a wise thing to do. So block, sort of choose an item that you're using essentially, and if it's something basically unsuited to blocking, then it's going to lose durability either way.
So I've got an ironwood staff.
That I believe is definitely a good one. So he got a 3, but has a +2. He's good at finessing, so that's a total of 5. What about Lyra? 4. So he darts forward, unfortunately a bit too quick for Lyra, manages to sort of cut into your side and make a bit of space. You involuntarily sort of let out a yell of pain, and he slinks away, diving into the open door, sort of seeing a gap made by the ruckus that you guys are making, and a chance to perhaps sneak away and into the keep.
The fiend.
I see none of this.
I thought you said that all gelflings were friends, Deanne.
You say whatever you want over there. I'm rolling about on the floor, trying not to get kicked in the head by a creature.
So that is the NPCs, and we're back round to you guys.
What from what I can see is the Rakida now stuck in the portcullis, or is it like it's just sort of banged into it? It's kind of
you reckon he's going to need to basically probably spend at least 5 seconds trying to extract himself sort of from there,
I should probably put an end to the poor thing. Yeah. I also don't want my friend to die. That would also be bad. So I'll take aim and try and take another shot at the trapped Rakida.
Okay. Let's see how it does. So, it doesn't do well.
I got an 8 in total.
An 8.
Yes.
That's definitely going to do it. So, this Rakida's not looking happy. It's whining, and you reckon. In fact, give me an animal handling.
Yeah, sure.
Test.
4.
4. You reckon this thing is now trying to sort of pull out and escape. It's hurt and wants out.
Cool. So as I sort of like let the arrow go and it sort of sinks in, Fallow says, "Diane, pull back from it. Don't worry about it now. We'll have chased it off. It does have its arrows in it, my arrows in it, but never mind."
Backwards on the floor. My tiny gelfling legs moving like a puppet would for some reason.
You're definitely able to sort of make your way back from the Rakida. Fallow, Lyra, even you sort of feel you sort of lose a bit of balance. You hit the floor a bit. You've got that cut in your side. So any tests from now, we'll be using a D4 rather than a D6.
Yeah.
When Lyra hits the floor, I will become concerned. I'd run over. Are you okay? What happened to Limit? What's going on? Did you see me with the Rakida diving out of the way? I was amazing. No, but seriously though, what's gone wrong? That was great.
It seems that Limit was not as trustworthy as we once thought.
Daylighters.
I wonder what his true purpose for being here is.
Can I see that you're injured?
I am indeed. Took a scrape, trying to help Limit get out of the way.
I will attempt to do my best to patch/cauterize that wound.
I would appreciate that.
Yeah, so this is a tend wounds check. So it's a healing test, difficulty 4, and essentially you can make one once a day per player.
No.
You make it worse, Jerry.
I'm sure I can burn this shot.
So was that a no? Was it?
That was a 1.
Oh no!
Lovely job, Lee.
So unfortunately, I guess Gelfling anatomy is a little different from filing. You're just like, well, we just need more fire in you.
No.
But that doesn't quite help this time.
It's these Seafa, they're too closely aligned to the border for me to help them in any way, shape, or form. Really, they're not even like proper Gelflings. They're more like fish.
And you're unable to sort of to help too much. I mean, you've bound the wound. It's not sort of causing an undue problem right now. It's just you're not back up to tip-top shape.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll have taken sort of a few minutes, taking you out of this the action scene. We're back in the sort of the normal flow.
Fallow, you should go and check to see if you could see where Limit's gone, or if the Rakida has started prowling out of its nest.
One can only hope that other Rakida has gone and hunted down Limit. And Fallow will turn around to Lyra as well and be like, "He's not indicative of all stone woods, I should say." And then Fallow's going to sort of creep up the steps and a little way into that kind of entranceway to see if he can see what's happening with the other Rakida and any sort of tracks and everything like that.
So within this room, you can see that it's a lot hotter than it used to be. The fire has spread from the sort of makeshift nest to much of the rug covering the floor. It's not quite blocking the doorway sort of straight ahead of you, but it's kind of threatening too, and the smoke sort of billowing out makes it a bit hard to see in the space, and sort of means that you can't discern if either Limit or any Rakitas are in this room for certain, and you can't say that they're not.
As Fallow will turn around, look out of the sort of entranceway, and sort of beckon them up the steps. Yeah.
Lead on, Fallow. Lead on.
I will. Lyra, if I were you, I'd stay towards the back just in case. Although
I planned on.
there might also be a Rakita behind it. No, we chased that off. It's fine.
Try and stay in the middle?
Yeah. Yes, try and stay in the middle.
I plan on staying out of sight as much as I can, so do expect me to fly out of the way if we do see the other Akid come our way.
I think that's an exceedingly good idea. Fallow's like, he takes the one arrow off his back that he's got left, and he's got a couple of trick arrows as well. Very Hawkeye. He says, I've only got one of these left, so whatever we do next, we should probably do as stealthily as we can. And he'll put it back. And so what, can I look at the map again, Jerry? You bring that up? Because it's got the little entranceways and stuff that we can...
Yes. So our current location is...
So you're currently in that first room within the Grand Keep.
Yeah.
So there's a door in front of us, and there's a door over to the left as well.
Yeah.
And there's also a set of stairs.
And there's also the stairs, but they lead back to
So in fact, sorry, yes, there's a door straight ahead of you, a door to the right, and then some stairs sort of behind.
Oh yes.
So you're very near right.
If you were to approximate the conflagration in this room, where would it mostly be located? Where was the burning?
So it's in that. So it's in the sort of top end of the room, north, if you will.
Okay, right, yeah.
And sort of right in the corner of that room. It's not quite blocking sort of the way through that door, but it's
in as much as I would love to go near the fire, I'm not like my filing companion, so I'll lead straight ahead to the door right in front of us. The forward-thinking Stonewood is the right Stonewood. And I'll go straight for that. And try and ease the door open if it's okay, or just see what it's like. So.
Okay. So you make your way across the room, sort of hazy smoke billowing out. And so are you trying to be swift or quiet, or
as quiet as possible?
How are you approaching this?
Yes,
quiet
as wise.
In that case, can you throw me a stealth? Sneaking.
A sneaky sneak test.
Sneak.
Got a 6.
Fantastic.
Boom.
So you make your way across, and this door seems to have been very recently opened. You can see sort of there's a scrape in the dirt and detritus behind it. The sort of as you sort of push on it or sort of see past it, the air behind it, especially compared to the air within this room, seems horribly cold, as if there's just a hanging in the room that is completely wrong and dissident with the desert sort of that this place is located. Peeking your head around, you will see the room itself has has 4 doors on each sort of side of the room. A glass dome that reaches out into the sky. You can sort of see that seems covered in dust and detritus that is not letting in much light at all. What dominates the room, however, is a throne that itself seems shattered in half. So a large stone edifice that is sort of from the top. You can see a great sort of lightning crack through the whole thing, splitting the whole thing in half. Within that throne is an ancient, desiccated gelfling with a black obsidian crown almost fused onto his skull.
Oh, Whisper. The throne room. Although Limit was lying, he did draw attention to particular wealth in the throne room. From what I feel like we're walking into, although it may be cold, it does seem we are going in the right direction.
Right.
When you say cold, if I reach my hand into the room, is it like touching burning ice? Is it distinctly terribly cold for me? Or
So
is
I
it just
think
chilly?
for you, it's kind of like going outside at the moment.
Right. It's a bit parky.
It's definitely like it is very uncomfortable, and you would probably die of exposure if left for hours. But it's not going to cause a physical problem for you.
Okay.
Sort of too soon.
As I cross the threshold, my head dims.
Yeah, so dims slightly. Could Fallow make me a tracking check, please? Animals tracking, I believe.
I got a 1 for that.
A 1. But then don't worry about it.
Nothing bad will happen. Right?
Forget about it.
Yeah.
Is it quite still in here, or is there a draft at all?
There is a little bit of a draft. There's there's the sort of 3 doors. The one you've just come through, the one sort of facing north, the one facing east, and then a door behind the throne that you can feel a slight draft coming from that door.
Isn't it fortunate that we can see that from Deanne's hair?
Yes, the fire flickers in that door.
So is that the one door where the slight breeze is coming from? Is that the one? Is that open, or the other one's open, or are all the other doors shut in that room? Or
the other doors are shut.
Okay.
That door seems to be it seems to be shut, but there is a draft coming from that direction, so
right.
you assume.
I will take a walk around the throne and its incumbent resident.
I'll follow in as well, and I'm gonna keep an eye on that door just in case something comes through.
I'm gonna have a look at the throne and be on it to see if I can get anything from it. Yeah.
So, taking a closer look at the throne, Deanne, you will see that the sort of ground underneath the throne, once the sort of detritus, once you sort of see past that, you can see that there is scorch marks in that sort of that stone. Whereas Lyra, you will, if you're looking sort of more for trinkets, you will see this this crown definitely is what draws your eye.
Very much so.
This large obsidian crown that is very intricately sort of dream etched. There's writing sort of all over the crown, and seems sort of almost attached to his head. So tightly is it bound there.
Is there so my character can read into decipher ancient writings as such? Is there any way that I can decipher what this might particularly mean, where this has been?
Definitely. Can you roll me an ancients check?
Am I capped at a D4?
You will still be a D4. Yep. Although I believe that talent means you're improved, which is 2 dice, take highest. 4. So, taking a closer look at the crown, you can't decipher it. You can't get any sort of specifics out of it, but you do catch a few words, and what you catch isn't hugely inspiring. Domination, oblivion, dominance, all that sort of horrible
Lovely
tyrant-y.
vocabulary.
This definitely, like, if you hadn't cottoned on before, this is definitely Craig Hell and his crown.
This isn't the first time we've seen obsidian. I seem to see a pattern that we are approaching. The obsidian wall, the obsidian crown. What could this mean?
Nothing wrong with obsidian.
True.
It's a lovely rock.
It all just seems very cruel here.
I wouldn't be keen on touching the crown. If he was defeated, as our legends tell, the fact that they left him sitting there with the crown on his head leads me to believe that we should leave well enough alone in that respect as well, and push on to see what else is in this keep.
What I suggest is we leave that room over there until last. If that's the way that the Rikida and Limit have gone, then they can deal with each other. I say we check out the other rooms, see if there's anything else in here. We are here to make sure that this place is safe, after all. And at the word safe, Fallow sort of cocks an eye at the crown and and the shattered throne. If that seems like a good plan to you two.
The crown isn't what's scaring me the most. The scorch marks on the ground are what concerning me at what lies ahead.
Some great power or something, yes.
Oh, that's merely where Jared defeated Craigle.
Lyra, could you give me a Vliaya check, please?
Ooh.
So that is the Dark Crystal word for sort of Gelfling magics. So.
3.
3. So you have sort of seen these scorch marks before at sea, when in great storms lightning strikes at the mast of a ship. You often sort of see these scorch marks where the lightning has struck the wood.
This is no work of no monster. This is the work of the weather. This is the work of the elements.
It's the work of a great fireling hero. I told you this outside. Why does nobody ever listen to the firelings?
Maybe your folklore is true. Yeah.
Not folklore. Legend. Stories of brave Jara Jen, bringing end to Craigle's terrible tyranny and ruin.
But it certainly inspires me. Fallow's going to make his way over to whichever door would be the one that would have been blocked off by the fire, if you know what I mean. So as long as that's not the one where the gust
to the left.
So the one with the draft is to the south.
Right. Okay.
You can head to the north.
Yeah, I'll do the north one. I'll do the same thing as before. Just slowly ease the door open if I can. So
the door is a little. Actually, no, this one's fine. I mean. Next one's probably fine as well. Don't worry about it. You push against the door, and it creaks in a suitably ominous fashion. The room in front of you is dark, with many candelabras sort of set around a large oval table. The table itself is a perfectly created miniature wargaming table, essentially, of Thra itself. So everything from the mountains to the seas, everything is recreated in miniature scale.
When you say everything, does that include the Crystal Tower?
So, you will note, in fact, can you throw me an Ancients check, actually?
Yes. 5, I have Ancients. 7.
7. So your sort of surface knowledge isn't perfect, but you've learnt a lot since you've come up here, and I think with Fallow and Lyra sort of their knowledge as well, you will quickly ascertain that this is a world map from before the Skeksis, from when there were only Gelfling upon Thra. So there is no crystal castle, and there are sort of changes in the landscape that they're minor things here and there. The main one being no crystal castle.
None of that.
And no sign of Skeksis. There is, however, the sign of Augra, the mystical witch lady that you've heard of, probably haven't met, and her home seems to be in the Claw Mountains near here, which is quite a long distance from where she's sort of based, as far as you know, in modern times.
And most importantly in here, there are no Rakida.
There are no Rakida.
Hooray.
I get distracted by big maps.
I'm going to make a point of, if we're all going in, if we do go in, I'm going to follow in, and I'm going to shut the door behind me. I don't
because you weren't raised in a barn.
I don't want anything sneaking up on us now.
Shut that door.
But, yeah, you get that door closed, and and that sort of plunges you guys into further darkness.
Is there anywhere up high that I can get advantage to fly to see what's ahead?
So the ceilings are tall, but not sort of unfathomably so, and there are some sort of what do you call it? Sort of platforms up above where one could sort of stand and keep watch out into the sky across the Claw Mountains. So you're able to fly up easily enough and get sort of a vantage point on one of these platforms, which have sort of what do you call them? The arrow slits in the side of the wall that you can sort of peer out of. It's too thin for you to be able to crawl through, but you can sort of see out into the sort of onto the Claw Mountains. You're quite high up now after having climbed all those stairs.
If nothing else, if we manage to take this keep back from those dastardly Rakitas, then this would be a decent enough map for our troops, I suppose.
I agree. Needs nothing more but a slight upgrade, but this has been used as a stronghold before.
Yes. I'm still not entirely sure that we want to even be here, considering all the creepy stuff going on. But, but you know, we must do what we can with what we have.
Like mummified gelflings in the courtyard who must have been here 1,000 Thanes or more before the Crystal Lords arrived.
That's just what I want in the middle of my castle.
It's definitely a place of ill omens.
Yeah, I'll have a little look around, see if there's anything that I can sort of rustle up from inside. Maybe there's like bookcases or something. But if there's nothing else, actually, I'll have a little route around. Yeah.
Okay, can you give me an awareness? Just for
there might be some arrows. I got a 6.
So having a look around, you will see sort of below the table itself, there are many sort of intricately carved drawers, and in them are small sort of pin playing pieces that you can imagine would denote ancient armies to be placed upon the map, and plan invasions and wars from this Grand General's chambers. You get a sense of something sort of special about them, something that feels right having them in your hand.
Without even thinking about it, he puts one that he thinks looks the coolest in his pocket.
Excellent.
It's creepy, but this one's nice.
There were candelabra and sconces around the walls. Were they filled with candles or torches or oil lamps? Or I was thinking if we're going to start exploring, my head is not going to be the only source of light.
Sort of all that's left is sort of a bit of dribble of wax from the candles that used to be in this space.
Well, there's always more tunic fallow, isn't there? Fashion rudimentary torches from.
Fallow stuffs his tunic into his breeches. So there's the door that goes back out towards the smokiness, and then there's the door back into the throne room. Is there another door in here, or we have to go out into the throne room?
There are 3 doors out of this room. One back into the smokiness, one back into the throne room, a third one that you can assume leads to the same room that you saw from the throne room.
Mm-hmm.
Can we push on?
I'll stop warming myself with my back against the door to the fire and follow the others.
Well, this room feels much more sort of warm than the.
Not as cursed.
The creepy throne room.
Less cursed.
Compared to the rest of it, what's the condition of this room?
So it's clearly sort of decayed. There's been no sort of rot here because of the dry conditions of the desert, but it seems fairly naturally sort of decayed. So the only thing that's really survived is this ornately made table that seems to have been preserved. Everything else is old and sort of rotten.
The honours then. Fallow will go up and push on the other door. You keep a watch up there, Lyra, just in case something comes through the back.
Mm-hmm.
So as you get to the door, you can give it a bit of a push, but it does seem to be blocked.
Being a stone would, I'll do what most stones would do and push it really hard.
Fantastic.
I'll try and shove it.
Can you give me a strength check then, please?
I can, and I got 2.
5.
Yeah, I've got +2 in this. So.
Oh right, fantastic.
To get an 8, a booyah! I can open doors like a genius.
So you smash open the door with maybe a couple of steps of run up, and so basically an old bookcase had sort of fallen halfway in front of the door, but it's no barrier to you, and you smash open the door, sending the bookcase toppling. Or maybe bookcase isn't the right term, because it definitely wasn't full of books. It was full of very carefully categorized bones.
Oh wow!
That scatter across the room. It wasn't the only case. Each of the shelves in this room, the walls are adorned with bookcases, each one with carefully catalogued bones. The bones seem to be catalogued by type and then by species.
Is this like the fact that you've said species in there preempts this question then. So this isn't like a mausoleum. This isn't funerary rites for this clan where they stock skulls, thigh bones, rib bones, and all by type and size. That this is like an alchemist lab or that sort of thing. Somebody has been studying.
It doesn't give the sense of ossuary. It doesn't have the respect. It has more of an air of a beetle collection or a
how weird
pinned butterflies. Someone who likes bones and wanted to collect them.
Really want a complete collection of fizzing bones.
Fallow turns round to the others and he's like, well, if you wanted to get another room on the creepy scale.
I'm going to head in with them. I feel, regardless that we are getting closer to what we want, it's not exactly getting easier. I'm feeling worse and worse the more I journey deeper in here. And I feel that we are going to come up against something a lot scarier than the monsters we've seen.
As soon as you say that, you hear a blood-curdling scream coming from above you.
The Rakida's found limit then, I see.
We should probably... well, damn it. Fallow's going to run to the door that he knows is open and go back out into the throne room with bow in hand.
You run out. The throne room is as you left it, still cold with that draft coming from the final door, and you can hear now more clearly the sounds of the growls of Rakida, shouting, cursing, some of it in a language that feels wrong and old from above.
I was going to say back, "Come, friends," and he'd start making his way over to the gusty door.
Just open the other door out of.
I know
the
he's
room.
more sensible.
So I reckon with your youthful energy and speed, and Deanne's more direct route, you actually get to the door at about the same time.
As the slightly older guy.
Can I quickly have a look at these bones to see how far they go back, to see what different, because there might be some really old bones from species we haven't seen for a while.
You can indeed. Can you give me a wild sense check, please? Animals wild sense.
3.
Speed cataloguing.
Just stuffing bones in their pockets.
The way they've been organised makes it actually quite difficult to work out what things are from. They seem to be organised by thigh bone, all of the different thigh bones, and then by skull, all the different skulls. Skulls are a bit easier, to be fair. The most recognisable part of my skeleton. And so there are ones you recognise, the most gruesome of which are, of course, Gelfling, are in this list.
Lovely.
And perhaps one actually there seem to be 2 Gelfling, or there's several Gelfling skulls, each of which sort of mentions a clan. The last of which seems to have a quite different sort of bone colour, and the symbol below that one is also the symbol for fire.
I'll run in. I'm going to take. No, I'm not. I'm not going to. I'm not.
A bag of skulls.
I'm not going to. I feel like that's going to go terribly, and I'm just going to go clink, clink, clink every time I run.
You escaped from Craig Hell's gift shop.
Yeah. I'm not going to take. However, I am going to walk back and tell the other 2 what I have just seen and worked out with all of the skulls.
Grisly business indeed.
Even if this is not acceptable as a base, we need to at least return those bodies to the relevant clans for their funerary rites.
They should.
Right.
However, they have been here for a long time, and I feel like mustering up their bones might disturb them. Or disturb something.
I think they'd be more disturbed by not going back to Thraz and Brace in the manner in which they should have been.
I understand, but we also have a big pile of Gelflings in the entrance. I feel like we should deal with all of those together when we return.
Oh, yeah.
We might end up with another body. Limit seems to be, and the shouting comes back. As much as he might have been a little cad, I don't want him to die to some strange Rakida. Let's see if we can get some more out of him. We get him alive. And Fallow's going to hobble off into the room.
So as you thunder up the stairs that twist round and round this final tower, that leads up and up until you find yourself. You see sort of the end of the stairs leading up, rickety and decayed. On the stairs, facing against 3 Rakida that are prowling up the stairs, sort of backing in against the very top of the tower, is Limit. There is a look to his eye. Gone is the pretense of the embarrassed, the nervous young man, and it is replaced with a glimmer of crazed intent. He sort of is looking back to the beacon, looking to the Rakida, and sort of jabbing away at them with his knife, trying to sort of scare them away, whilst clearly sort of trying to get maybe enough space to do whatever he is planning on doing. He hasn't quite. He's sort of busy with the Rakida at the moment. He's not paying attention to you as you thunder up. So you're on the south side of this stairwell going up around this tower. He is on the other side of that stairwell, so you can sort of see him from here.
How high is the tower? And presumably we can see all the way up the center of it if the staircase goes around the inside.
Yeah. So it goes around several times. This would probably be 3 or 4 stories overall.
So could I? Don't say no just yet. Could I get in a position essentially opposite, and then throw my grappling hook up so I can get above him, or is he at the very pinnacle of the tower?
He is at the very pinnacle. He's got his back to a large pile of stacked wood that forms a beacon, very Lord of the Rings style. Call for aid from Gondor, from Rohan. And so he's got his back to that. That's at the very sort of peak of the tower. So getting above him, not going to be possible. However, you could perhaps grappling hook to the other side of the beacon, sort of get behind him in that way.
I will attempt to do that then.
And you say there's 3 Rakida in front of us, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, sort of between.
Betwixt.
Deary me, that's a lot of Rakida. Oh no.
Betwixt you and Limit, yes.
I have on me, my person, I have got some tuft rooms, which apparently smell very nice. And I do get the understanding these Rakida have not had a good meal in a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sneak forward as close as I can get without being seen. Just sneak a mushroom to hope that one of them will fall into a slumber.
Okay. So you're approaching the Rakida.
Quietly.
Can you give me an animal handling? It's definitely...
Sure.
So we've got a grappling hooking gelfling.
Oh, at the same time, feel free to...
At the same time, yeah.
a climb there, DM.
My plan.
Fallow's just watching over Lyra just in case this goes terribly badly.
Yeah. 4.
At least I'll be halfway up a rope if it goes wrong.
Yes. I could fly, worst case scenario, but I've got a 4.
I get a 7.
Okay, fantastic. So yeah, you managed to hook sort of onto the back of the beacon, swing out. So you're now basically over the open space. Climb your way up, and sort of you're now crouched behind the beacon. Fallow, Lyra, even you managed to make your way closer and closer and get the attention of the rearmost Rakida, who turns, snarls, seems to approach. Takes all of your courage not to back down, but you know that if you were to back down and sort of show fear, it would take that as a sign to attack. So you sit out there, you have your mushrooms, and it goes forward, gives them 1 sniff, gives them 2, and then takes a bite. You do the thing. You always got to keep your hand very very flat when you're feeding a horse, like that. It sort of starts eating out of your hand, and you hear the shout of Limit as he spots you sort of approaching, and he says, "Away! Get away! You won't stop me! The Song of Thrar is ending. Death is a crescendo. Craig Hal will rise again." And I think that's the start of an action scene.
Right, well, I'm like this.
Yeah, right whilst you're feeding this Rakina sort of eating out of your hand.
Well, he's eating it, so hopefully he'll fall asleep.
Yeah,
so.
he's drowsy. And yeah, let's go. What are you guys up to?
When you say Gondor calls for aid, are we talking huge timbers? Branch-sized timbers? How is this thing stacked?
Yeah, so massive timbers. Your sort of innate knowledge of flammable stuff. I think you've learned to be very careful about what is and isn't flammable. These are great timbers, and they've been soaked in some sort of tar. So they're ready to go up, and they are extremely dry after perhaps 1,000 years.
I do feel like that's his end game. The fact he's come up here is to set fire to these, and I don't want to be the one to raise some sort of undead gelfling warlord of death. But what I would love to do is see if I can tip or push on top of Chuckles on the top of the stairs.
Okay.
So that will be my goal. In fact, it may take me a little while to sort this out, but he seems to have his hands full of Rakina at the moment. So potentially using my grappling hook like a pulley around it and then coming back. So it's hooked on the front, facing him, runs around the back, and I'm in a position where I can then just lean backwards off over the plunging abyss to try and pull. So that's what I'm going to be doing.
That's going to give you you're going to set that up this turn and make the test next turn. That's going to give you advantage, but it is also going to take 1 durability from the grappling hook.
It's not the grappling hook I'm worried about.
Just don't roll a 1. That's the trick. Meanwhile, Lyra, the Rakida sort of that ate out of your hand seems it's still standing, but it's just like leaning against the wall for now. Nice. And it's got his eyes closed. It's not asleep, it's just got his eyes closed.
Just a bit dormant,
yeah. And sort of is sort of slumping over. You've got a feeling that one's probably out for the time being. The other two sort of seem surprised that there's people now sort of behind them and in front, and are sort of getting themselves into a lather. They seem more aggressive than.
You got this, Lyra.
I mean, I could always offer more.
More?
I mean, what is above me, other than this, the pyre, as it were? Is there anything that I can? So
the pyre, and then sort of above that, there is a sort of small roof that would protect the pyre from sort of. I mean, it's not likely to rain, but the elements in general. But the sort of space between, so that roof is on small pillars, wooden pillars. Apart from that, the whole sort of space is open, and you can sort of actually sort of looking around, you can see that the view is rather amazing. If you weren't in the middle of something, you might take a few minutes to observe sort of. You can see all the way down the the shifting past, the crystal desert, and on the other side you can see the Sprighton Plains, a great farming region. In the distance, even you think you can see sort of between the Claw Mountains, the hint of the crystal spire of the crystal castle itself. This is quite the vista. It would have that little icon on a map.
I don't want to do anything until I see what Lyra is going to do, because I want to kind of react. Because if you go ham, I'll go ham. If you want more sedate, I'll be more sedate.
I mean, 2 of them, and considering I've just been nice to their buddy, I don't plan on killing any more. So I'm going to take myself higher, fly up. Just get myself a bit to safety. If I can give Fallow a boost whilst doing so, if he wants one.
Fallow just sort of like waved his hands and sort of like it sort of taps his nose. He's got a plan, kind of thing. So.
Okay, I'm going to get myself to safety.
Okay, yeah, you take off. You sort of get out, probably slightly out of the way of that whatever the hell Deanne's planning as well.
Something.
And get yourself out of danger. You reckon if it was feeling suicidal, one of the Rakitas could probably sort of leap, but it has a long way to fall, and they don't seem that mad. Well, one of them's asleep, so
resting his eyes.
And let's hear Fallow's plan.
Now he thinks maybe he should have gone with Lyra, but never mind. Instead, he sort of, because he's seen the 2 Rakita. Are the other 2 Rakita looking at him now down the stairs or up at Limit?
So they seem to have their attention split.
Right. Okay.
You're not sure which one they sort of feel more aggressive towards. You've all intruded in their territory essentially.
Yeah.
So they're not happy with anyone.
Okay.
There isn't much space on these stairs sort of for overtaking and for pushing past people. So one of the sort of Rakita does seem more sort of intent on Limit and one on you. Sort of
in that case, then, Fallow's going to yell and wave his arms at the one facing him and then sprint down the stairs as quickly as possible. Because he's planning to run and try and trap it in one of the rooms, perhaps. So he's going to try.
Okay, I love it. So as you turn tail to run, can you roll me an athletics check?
Yes.
Old Gelfling.
4.
Let's see.
The sciatica.
That's a 3.
4.
You can feel the hot breath airing down
right on the back of your neck. And in fact, I think that'll be basically its turn. Will be chasing you.
I'm running into the bone library room. That's what I'm going for. So
I think you'll make it down sort of to the door to the throne room, and you'll be sort of barreling through. It's hot on your heels, but it doesn't get to sort of attack or do anything other than that. The other Rakita, let's see. Yeah, so the other Rakita is going to take this opportunity to leap forwards towards Limit and strike at him. He will sort of fall back. It's sort of on him. He's trying to push it away, trying to get it away from him, and he carries on his mad babbling. Clegg Hell will rise again. All will see. The cult will bring him back. And he starts fiddling with something in his pocket and scraping something. In fact, Lyra will sort of have a bit more of a view on that. He has tinders and flint and is basically trying, even as he's sort of being attacked by this creature, to light the beacon. It's sort of you get the feeling it's become clear to him that he's not getting out of this. Like before, he had this idea of maybe if he could scare away the Rakiti, he could do something and then maybe escape. But at this point, he must fulfill his destiny. And so that was his action. That was the Rakita. And it's back round to you guys.
You've got this diet, Deanne.
I'll be essentially putting my heels against the edge of the precipice, leaning back on the rope, just pulling. I don't know. That's probably going to be a strength, I assume.
Definitely a strength, but you're going to have it improved from the grappling hook.
Yep. Let's see whether or not the death cult remember their history. Oh, I'm going to scream Jarajen's name as I do it. Jarajen.
Jarajen.
I get a 5.
Yeah.
5.
Ooh. Oh, that's got to be good. Yes.
So you pull, and you start to feel the whole thing sort of shift sideways, twist, and then the whole thing pushes forward. One of the logs snaps immediately, and the whole thing starts to crumble forwards. Let's see if Limit can... Oh, no, that's a 1. The Rakita, also a 1. Could you give me a reflex check on top of that, Deanne?
The question is, will I just go head over Gelfling tail down to the bottom of this tower?
Lyra might catch you. I don't know.
One step
I
this way
could.
down. For 5, because I've got athletics. No, I don't. Sorry. Yes, no, I do. 5.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you slip, you grab one hand, sort of very cinematic. The kind of thing that when you see it in a movie, you go, well, that would just rip his arm off.
Yeah.
Really good stitching.
That tunic, though, that's why I didn't burn it.
Dangling on that ledge, one hand, sort of other hand still trailing the sort of the rope from the grappling hook, as the whole beacon sort of crumbles away from you. A short, sharp scream is about all that stands as the epitaph of Limit, as large logs sort of thunder past him. You can see he falls off the edge of the stairs, along with the Rakita and a load of the logs. And unless anyone intervenes, then the whole sort of load of the beacon and the two creatures will tumble down into the darkness at the bottom of these stairs.
I'm going to float down and get DM up from the side from being so awfully dramatic. Just
Fantastic.
to give it
As you pull me back up, I'm just going to go, see, when the Gelfling clans work together, there's no limit to what we can do.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
yeah.
dear. Game on experience.
At that point, that's my...
Unfortunately, now I do appear to have blocked our way out of here, Maria.
Meanwhile, hello.
Yeah.
Can you kite me down the outside of the tower back into the courtyard? Because I'm assuming the bottom of this tower is just filled with tarry beacon and dead things. That's the door used to be.
Traverse down, if allowed.
So whilst the bottom of the tower is definitely sort of there's all these sort of logs and beacon bits, all tastefully hiding all the other bits that are down there. You reckon sort of with a bit of time and effort, you will be able to clear things away. And now that sort of the danger has somewhat passed, Fallow will be able to push his way beyond the throne room towards the bone room, and trap the remaining Rakita within, thereby ending the danger at Craighell's Keep.
Hooray!
We did it!
We did!
When we get back, we tell the Almorda and the others that this is a terrible place
I agree.
that needs to be cleared out. And also, there appears to be a death cult of Gelflings who want to resurrect some lunatic.
Mhm.
I mean, Skeksis are bad enough, but Gelflings turning on Gelflings?
Oh, in fact, as you are clearing away the logs and getting your way sort of into the throne room, you will see one last piece of limit underneath the logs. You see his hand reaching out from underneath, and upon the back of his hand is the emblem of a black skull that matches the flag that was upon the walls.
Oh,
And I think that will be our fade to black.
Very cool.
To be continued.
Oh, that was great fun. I really enjoyed
That was great. Always feed the animals. Always.
Apparently, yeah.
It was worth a go.
Not set fire to their nest, which
I
is
do-
my default.
I do love how you jump to that, because the setting is very much based around sort of combat is very dangerous and very scary, and being able to try and work with creatures and find alternate solutions is definitely part of our ethos. So always lovely to see that in action.
Pacifist approach.
It's what the Dark Crystal is all about. Listen, folks, if you've enjoyed this, drop a line or two below. Let us know what you think. Keep an eye out, because either just after or just before this, there will be a unbooking of the delightful Dark Crystal book.
Oh, so beautiful.
Because what you see there doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of what's in that. As far as an RPG goes, it's a thing of beauty, from the very bindings all the way through to a very GM-friendly book. If you've never actually role-played before, it's a fantastic way to get into it. Jack, it's been an absolute pleasure playing with you. And I barely set fire to anything at all, so I feel like I've managed to, I'm maturing in my old age as a fireling.
I even put a tar-soaked beacon in there.
I know. So badly. But we're going to move on, folks. Let us know what you think below. Until next time, bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed this Let's Play. Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.